Hey guys, Happy Dude here. Now, if you're a car person and you like German cars, you are going to end up with a Volkswagen, Audi, BMW or a Merc. So, which one is the best? Well, I can't talk about a Mercedes because I never had one. So, let's leave that one out. Now, I did have a few Volkswagens, Audis and BMWs, so I can talk about that. And my best car far yet was the BMW M2. So I'm also going to talk about why I did sell the car. There are a few small reasons, but there's one very big reason. Now first let's talk about looks, because that's the first thing why you are attracted to a car in the first place. Now most of the BMWs up until 2020 looked pretty good. There are a few ugly ones, but most of them looked very nice. But every BMW after 2020 is just so ugly. I can't look at them. Even if I think about them. Sorry for that, but that was one of the small reasons why I switched. You know what? I think BMW tried to copy Audi with their big grille, but because they have to have two kidneys, they just chopped it into two. And also look at the stance of the car. So the gap between the front wheel and the rear wheel is almost equal. With BMW the front gap is way bigger, so the car stands like this, and to fix that you have to change the suspension. Now I know looks is something subjective, but you have to admit that modern Audis look a lot better than modern BMWs. And I think there isn't really a ugly Audi out there. Now also something very important is brakes. Now even though my BMW had bigger brakes and there were also holes in the discs, still these Audi brakes are a lot better. They brake better and they don't overheat as much as on my BMW, so I didn't need to change anything about these. While on the BMW I had to change the brake pads to avoid overheating. Also something very unusual that I noticed is that the paint job on an Audi or Volkswagen is very hard to chip
I never had one, while on my BMW there were a lot of chips in the paint from rocks and stuff.
The Audi, meanwhile, was totally unmarked.
Why do the Germans put paint on in such a way that it doesn't then come off?
Because they are Germans and it is impossible to paint a car badly.
Okay, let's go inside the interior for a bit, because the seats is also something very important. I don't know why, but every time I sit in a Volkswagen or an Audi, I have no complaints. They are very comfortable. But in a BMW, no matter how I set the seat and no matter how many settings the seats have, I always have pain in my lower back. Now, also something that doesn't help if you have back pain is a hard suspension, which it is on a BMW, especially an M car, and it's even worse if you have those stupid run flat tires that BMW make. Now on this Audi it's actually pretty soft, even though this is an S model. Now, even though this Audi S3 is basically the same as a Golf R, it's still softer and way more comfortable to drive. I know this because the other day there was a Golf R next to me at the gas station and he complained that the car was too hard. So I took a drive with him and he was right. It's way harder. Now the Audi is also more quiet because it has better isolation and the trimming overall looks and feels better than the Volkswagen. And also the hole and the trunk space itself is a lot bigger on the Audi. On the BMW it only started around here, so a normal sized box couldn't get in it. Now, also something that is a lot better on Volkswagens and Audis is the audio system. This is just the base version and it sounds about the same as the upgraded version of the BMW. If you have the upgraded system in the Audi, that sounds amazing. But navigating with the buttons in the info and entertainment system and info system is a lot better on the BMW than on Audis and Volkswagens. And even though the Audi is smaller than the BMW on the outside, the Audi still manages to be bigger on the inside. Now let's go to the mechanical stuff. Let's start with the gearbox. This is a double clutch system, so it's the same as in my BMW M2, but it was a lot better in the BMW. This system has a lot of delays. Sometimes it jerks, sometimes it doesn't shift. So yeah, the BMW was way better. Okay, now let's do the engine itself. So this is only a 2-liter 4-cylinder with a pretty big turbo and it produces 315 horsepower.
And the BMW had a 3-liter 6-cylinder producing 370 horsepower. So the BMW drove a lot better because that 6-cylinder is way smoother to drive.
And that's because this is only a 4-cylinder producing almost the same horsepower as the BMW, so you have lots and lots of turbo lag. That means if you're driving slow in a high gear and you want to accelerate, it's going to take a while once the car gets going.
But this small engine also got a very big advantage. Because it's only a 2-liter 4-cylinder, the insurance and the tax is way cheaper than on the BMW with the 6-cylinder. And let's be honest, fuel isn't getting any cheaper. And if you put a stage 1 tuning map on this little engine, you get the same horsepower as the BMW.
Also, this car has 4-wheel drive, so you feel a lot safer and it's much easier to put all that power down to the road. So now you know all the small reasons, but the big reason was the BMW is a much better driving machine, so I had a ton of fun with it. In fact, the police thought that I had a little bit too much fun with the car, so they decided that they wanted it to take it away from me along with my driving license and a big ticket, and I was also forced to go to court. So yeah. And that's because the BMW is always challenging you to go harder and faster. The Audi doesn't do that. It's much softer and just better to drive in the real world. The BMW is very focused. It really wants to go on the track. So if you like driving fast on the track, the BMW is a way better choice for you. If you don't like all that nonsense and just want a fast car for on the real road, you have to pick the Audi.